Joining me now on this episode of Locally Sourced CP is owner-operator of Zia Comics in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and the owner of El Paso Comic Con, Troy Stegner. Troy, thank you for joining us, man.
Hello.
How's it going?
Not bad. How about yourself? Long time no see.
I know. And for those of you who don't know, I used to help out Troy. I still do once in a while. But we used to help out with the show Talk Nerdy to Me, which you can find on YouTube. And I also did I ran the photo ops booth for the El Paso Comic Con for a few years, and that was
Las
a whole lot
Cruces
of fun.
Comic Con even.
And then for the Las Cruces Comic Con too as well. That's a whole lot of fun, man. So thank you for that opportunity first and foremost. That was a whole lot of fun.
No, thank you.
We're not here for me. Here to talk about you. Talk a little bit about yourself and how you got started in comics and how you got Zia Comics going.
How I got started long time ago. The first comic I can remember when my grandmother bought it for me at a yard sale, and it was one of the Batman Ra's al Ghul. I believe it was Son of the Demon comic book, and I can still remember most of the panels from that comic because I looked at it so many times the cover fell off. It was I loved it. I didn't know anything about comics before this, so I had no idea who Batman was. So just so happened that she got me a Batman comic at this yard sale, and from there I got hooked. And this is back when you could buy comics in the grocery store on the little spinner racks, the Hey Kids comics thing on top. And so every time we'd go to the grocery store, I would hit her up for another comic, and that's how I started building my collection. So, and from there I started getting more and more into the whole universe building of Marvel, DC. Back then it was mostly Marvel and DC.
Right.
And, all the history, how these characters got to where they were now, up to the point where I became a pretty hardcore collector until I joined the military. Kind of hard moving around a lot to keep that collection going. And it kind of fell by the wayside at that point until 2010. On a whim, we decided to go to San Diego Comic Con, and this was like the last year. I just called up like the week before and said, "Hey, do you still have tickets?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure, not a problem. You can come get them at will call." I'm like, "Oh, bet. All right, cool." So we went 2010, got our tickets, saw it all, and I said, "Man, this is awesome." And they're like, "Hey, we're pre-selling the tickets for next year if you want to buy them now." I'm like, "No, I'll just wait till the week before like I did this time and get them then." Well, that was the year it blew up. So we called back in 2011 and they laughed at us before they hung
up. That's crazy to think that there was a time like you could just call up like a week before and be like, "Hey, can we get some tickets?"
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember what prompted it. I was going through my bucket list. I was like, "Yeah, I want to go to Comic Con. I keep hearing all about this big comic convention." And like I said, it was like the week before. I just picked up the phone, called, and someone answered. Said, "Yep, we got them here. Credit card number. Pick them up at will call."
Dang, that's crazy. Like just to think that it used to be like just like that, and like now it's like you have to be in a
raffle
room.
system.
Yeah, you had to wait, and you had to be in a raffle system. You had to get the queue. I mean, I tried one year, and I was like, I think that's like one of the few episodes I've seen of oh my gosh, what's that one with that they just ended?
Big Bang.
Yeah, the Big Bang Theory. They're all refresh. That's like one of the few episodes I've seen, and that's exactly the experience now. Tickets to Comic Con.
Yeah, well, we're kind of lucky now. If I want to go, we can get the tickets under the professional side. Mm-hmm. They allocate so many, so we just say, "Hey, yeah, I need 2 tickets." Yeah, and we still have to pay for them, but I mean, we don't have to go into any raffle system.
That's cool. I was trying to go one year with you, but I think plans had fell through, and but that I really want to go one year, especially when it's safer.
Yeah. Well, it's not only that, it's expensive to go too. The hotels, the travel, you got to eat while you're there. The tickets are really the least amount you're going to spend.
Right. Well, talk a little about I mean, after you guys went to that Comic Con, did that just like re-trigger and get you back into comics?
Yeah, I actually did. That was about the time I believe AVX was going on, Avengers versus X-Men. And I don't know if you said you haven't been to San Diego, but the lines for everything are crazy long. And this is before they started the ticketing system for lines. So we were sitting in the Hall H line, and I needed something to read because you're in the line for hours at a time.
Hmm.
So I ran it. She held the spot. I ran inside, and I bought an AVX #1 and read it. And I was like, oh my God, this is so good. So I ran back in and bought the rest of them. And when we got back, I'm like, yeah, I'm starting a pull list again. But in Cruces, there was no place to start a pull list. So that's when we decided, well, there should be a comic book store here. So we opened one.
Wow. How if you remember, how big was your collection when you guys opened doors, or when you decided to start?
I had a really big collection before my divorce, my first divorce, my only divorce, actually. I shouldn't say first. My ex kept a lot of my books, a lot of my good stuff. And so I basically, that in 2010, I started completely over. And yeah, and like when we opened the comic book store, I really didn't have a collection to start with. I think we started with 2 long boxes and some other random stuff in the store.
Well, that's crazy. I never knew that about you. That is awesome. Like that you just started with 2 long boxes.
Yeah, and it took about 2.5 months to get approved to get new comics through Diamond. So the first year was kind of rough.
That
There were days with no customers. So
right. And then you guys are where you are now. I mean, you guys were at one location for a while. The first location, how long were you guys there?
about 4 or 5 years, and it was about 1,000 square feet. And I didn't think we were ever going to fill it up. But then that last year, I started thinking, oh my God, I don't have any room for anything new. So then we bought a new location over on Main Street in Las Cruces, and it's like 8,000 square feet. And I'm at that point now, I'm like, oh my God, we're never going to fill this up. And then, the other day I looked around, I'm like, wow, I need more room.
that new location in Las Cruces, man, it's a great spot. I've been there quite a few times. Just if in case anyone's wondering, what's the address out there?
It's 125 North Main Street, right across from the plaza. You can't miss it. We're right between two breweries, so between Little Toad and Icebox.
It's a great spot. And then, are you guys, if you don't mind me asking, are you guys doing anything right now for social distancing, especially with anything going on?
Well, we have to. New Mexico has the mandate in place with 25% of your fire code capacity, which, as big as we are, that doesn't really hinder us a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We can have 25 people at a time in the store. The part that really kills us is not being able to do any type of events, no gatherings over 5 people. And a lot of our stuff was event driven. You had Free Comic Book Day, we had Friday Night Magic, board game nights. We always had something going on in that game room. And now they've told us you can't do that. So we've had to try to find other ways to keep people engaged. And
Right.
It's really tough.
Yeah, that place was hopping, man, when you guys were able to do the Magic Gathering games.
Yeah.
And also with the puzzles and the game nights you guys had. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I just have a question. Do you have a favorite comic book that you have that not necessarily that most valuable, but is there a favorite comic book that you have that you probably either never sell or someone had to pay you a lot of money for?
A lot of the ones that I keep, I don't know if you've ever seen inside my office, but a lot of the CGC signature stuff that I've gotten through El Paso Comic Con or any of the other local cons with people that mean something to me. Like I think I've got a Dark Phoenix, Return of Dark Phoenix signed by Claremont. I got a Power Rangers Shattered Grid signed by Jason David Frank. I had Meredith and David Finch both signed. He sketched and she signed a Wonder Woman blank cover. Just stuff like that has some kind of personal connection. Those are the ones I kind of hang on to. The other ones, I whenever I opened the store, I kind of quit collecting as a collector because it's like Biggie said, man, you can't get high on your own supply or you're going to go broke, because you're going to want every cool thing that comes through the door.
Right. Yeah, that I think like I have I mean my collection's like nowhere near like a lot of others. I'm kind of like one of those casual collectors. I think I got 2 books last year at the the New Mexico one, and
Comic Expo, yeah.
yeah, I got a Ben Bishop. I had 2 Ben Bishop covers of Ninja Turtles, and I had him sign it, and then it so happened to be there that Kevin Eastman was there. So I had them both.
Wow.
They both sketched and signed them, and I had them CGC'd, and I had just got them back like in September last year. So they're like my kids. Like I have them put away, and I even show them off anytime I get a chance because they're like so cool.
Keep them in the box wrapped up in tissue paper, and you bring them out on special occasions.
I mean, and they're like the one of my favorite ones is not even that. It's a variant, but it's just like Raphael with the proton pack because it was the Ninja Turtle Ghostbuster issue.
Oh,
and it's just so cool because it's a Ninja Turtle with the proton pack on. So thought that was so cool.
Yeah. Like I said, those are the ones I keep. I wouldn't say collect, but those are the ones that mean more to me than just single issues or having a big collection or a full run of something. I quit doing that when I opened the store.
And then let's talk about your other baby, El Paso Comic Con. I mean, how did you get started into that? I mean, I know you had acquired the rights and everything for it. I mean, what made you want to go after it, if I can ask?
Well, we started as a vendor when we first opened the store. We were a vendor at El Paso Comic Con, and we wanted something like that in Cruces. We were like, hey, why can't we do a con in Cruces? And we talked to the owner of El Paso Comic Con at that point, and he's like, no, it's not worth it. I'm not even going to bother Las Cruces. You guys don't need a con. So whenever somebody tells me I can't do something or I shouldn't, that's usually when I want to do it even more. So we did Las Cruces Comic Con, and it turned out pretty well. The first year, I think we had 6,000 attendees, 6 to 7, and everybody stood up and took notice. And it kept getting bigger, and we were like, yeah, this is great. It's hometown. We're doing really good with the con, and it's bringing pop culture to an area that is really starved for pop culture. And Cruces, it's either gun shows or art shows. There's never anything pop culture. I was reading Facebook one day, and I saw where the owner of El Paso Comic Con was like, hey, I'm boarding it up, calling it quits. It's done. No more El Paso Comic Con. And I had his number because we were vendors with him, so we were in contact with him a lot. So I called him up and said, hey, man, if you're not going to run it, how about you let me have it? And we started talking. And he said, well, I'll let you buy it, because he had the legal rights to do business as El Paso Comic Con in El Paso.
Right.
He threw an outrageous number at me, and after I got done laughing, I told him, well, I really want to have the name of the city in the event, and I don't want to change it up, and call it El Paso Pop of Culture, but I wanted El Paso Comic Con because if you do a Google search, what you key into Google is El Paso and Comic Con, regardless of what the pop culture event is. That's what you're going to. We every time there was another pop culture type event in El Paso, we would see a huge spike in our Google search numbers because people that's what they type in is El Paso and Comic Con.
Mm-hmm.
So we negotiated with him. I got the price down to very, very reasonable price. It was astronomically lower than what he asked for to start with. We had a lawyer draw up the contracts, saying we were buying the name, but none of the debt or anything else associated with it, because that was all his.
Yeah.
And after we did all that, we met him in El Paso, walked across the street to the courthouse there, and got everything signed over to us. And we began the process of rebuilding. The the honor, I don't want to say the honor, we tried to rebuild the name and all the financial stuff along with it, because in the beginning when we called the convention, we didn't want to do it in the Coliseum or any of these other places around town, because the heart of El Paso is right there downtown. The convention center is where all the big events go, so that's where we wanted to have it.
Right.
And our first meeting with the convention center was really kind of strange. All the guys at the convention center were kind of on edge and very they had all these papers in front of them, and they looked at us, like, so you now own El Paso Comic Con? Like, yeah. He's like, okay, there's an outstanding bill of, and he started to push paper across the table to me. I was like, but I didn't buy any of his, financial debt. All I have is the name. If you want the money, you have to go to him, because we're starting clean with this. So he pulls the paper back across the desk. He's like, okay. And it took us, and that was the same with all the newspapers, radio, pretty much any type of advertising done in El Paso. They were all very leery of the name when we first got it. Wow. And it took a year or two to rebuild all that trust. There for a while, we had to pay up front for everything we did. That there was no credit extended to us. So anything we did, we had to pay the full amount up front before they would even talk to us. But after a couple years, now we're on really good terms with all of them around town. I think we put on a pretty decent event. We try to make it better every year. So, like I said, we took it in 2015, 2016. This was going to be our third or fourth year, and we had already brought it up to the point that it was recognized as a good event throughout town. And like I said, this year was going to be our big breakout year. We had some big names come in, and then this stupid virus hit and threw everybody for a loop.
Yeah, the lineup was nice, man. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah, and we're still not. We had to we postponed it to October, and I figured when we postponed to October, that's plenty of time. We'll have this all under control. And in fact, I thought that might be too long. I didn't want people to lose interest. Right. Well, it's rolling around October. I'm like, oh crap, we're not going to be able to do it then either. So now we postponed it to April of 2021, and I'm actually starting to wonder if we're going to make it out of this. Huh? Yeah, by then. Nobody wants to commit to a contract right now, guest-wise, because nobody knows.
Right.
Plus, if they're still active, in their work as a voice actor or in the movies, they don't know when they're going to get called back to start doing all this filming. So they might have a full filming schedule for months at a time after this is lifted.
Right.
So there's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, especially with everything, like a lot of stuff maybe going back into that production that was supposed to be done already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the guests have said they want to come back, but it's just all going to have to fit into their schedule.
Right.
So if they're available, we're going to get them back. And if they're not available, then we'll try to find somebody just as good to replace them.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. And then if you want to touch on like some of the go over some of the bigger guests that you guys were bringing in for this year that are hopefully coming back for next year. If you don't.
Well, I think the big one everybody wanted to see was Shatner.
Right.
The guy's iconic. He's just, and he's really good with the fans. I don't know if you've ever seen any of the panels or anything he's been on where he's a storyteller. The guy can spin a yarn. We just happened to be walking in at C2E2 in Chicago on one of his panels, and we walked right in the middle of the story, and all I heard was the first few sentences, and I was just captivated. I sat down and listened to the rest of it without even knowing the beginning of the story. The guy he's got that X factor that draws you in and you want to hear what he's saying.
Right.
So yeah, he was a big one. A lot of Star Trek fans. We had Michael Rooker was supposedly coming. Not supposedly, he was on contract to come.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Rooker is and I did an interview with him. He's the most down to earth, laid back dude. Just a great guy. He's been in tons of, everything from Mallrats to Days of Thunder to Guardians of the Galaxy. He's Walking Dead. He's been in so many great stories and movies that I was really looking forward to meeting him. And the guy's a character. I mean, you can't let him get bored at a con because he will entertain himself. You got to watch, make sure he's not doing anything crazy. We had for the wrestling fans, there was Mick Foley, who is hugely popular. Cactus Jack, Mick Foley, however you know Mankind. We had Brutus, the Barber Beefcake, and Greg Hammer Valentine were coming. So we were spanning our WWE, WWF. I can't remember which era they were from, and
they were WWF because I remember
the old school
them when I was little.
Well, I can't remember if Foley crossed over both.
Yeah, he was like WCW for a while, and he didn't. I think he came over. It was still WWF when he came over as Mankind, because I remember he had that rivalry for a little while with the Undertaker and stuff like that.
Yeah. So we were kind of reluctant at the beginning to bring in WWF people, wrestlers. We weren't sure how well it would go over, but we brought in Vicky Guerrero, the hometown girl, and Jake the Snake this last time, and people just loved it, man. They ate those guys up.
Yeah.
So we figured, okay, we tested the waters, it worked. Let's bring in more. So hopefully those guys will be available. We had Opie, son from Sons of Anarchy, was going to be coming. We tried for a couple years. The year before, he had to cancel for some filming he was doing, and he was going to make it up to us and come this year, and then COVID hit. But yeah, that dude is crazy popular also. We had a bunch of voice actors. They've voiced stuff from all the popular animes, My Hero Academia to Fire Force to what have you. We always bring in the cars, the Batmobile, the A-Team van. He's got a new vehicle now. He's got a Herbie, the Love Bug.
Yeah.
The guy with the kit car. I mean, we try to bring something for everybody in there. So we try to hit all the genres and not overload on anyone. Those are the big ones. The Blue Power Ranger, David Yost.
You guys do a good job of bringing something for everyone. Like I mean, there's from being there the times you guys had us had me doing the photo booth. I mean, there's all ages, and everyone usually always has a good time. So you guys do a good job of bringing in as someone for like all the age groups. So it's been really cool. You guys have done an amazing job. I mean,
we always get complaints where they say, "Oh, you should bring in more of this, or you should bring in more of that." So, well, we're trying to go wider and not as deep, so that we cover everything, because we want everybody to be entertained. You don't want somebody dragging their family in, and they absolutely hate pop culture. So, okay, we'll go look at the cars. The cars are cool. We have gaming. There's gaming over here. We have video gaming. Check that out. There's panels. I mean, like I said, we want to have something for everybody so that when they walk in the door, you want them to have a reason to stay in the door. You don't want them to come in, do a loop, leave, and go home. That's a waste. So we want them there all day.
Awesome. And just I'm just wondering, and just like from all your dealings, all the cons that you've been to, who's been like the celebrity or artist or comic book person? Who's been the one that you've met that you were like, wow, I got to meet this person, or get a photo op with them? Is there someone that sticks out in your mind that like your favorite?
Well, I don't really since I'm running the whole thing, I don't really have a lot of time. I don't think I've gotten a photo op with any of them, honestly. You would know. You know
what? You never have.
Yeah, I don't think I've always been trying to make sure everything's running smooth.
That's right. I don't think you've ever been in the photo booth with us.
I come in to check on you guys, but I've never been in any of the photos.
Yeah, I think we've had you've never have. Oh my God.
Yeah, just meeting a lot of those people is enough for me. I have a mental camera, so I know that I've met them. I don't care if anybody believes me or not. But people like Jim Steranko, he's one of the elder statesmen. He's done so much in the comics. Chris Claremont.
Yeah.
done so much. Seeing those guys, Meredith and David Finch were awesome. Pretty much all the artists we bring in are just crazy awesome and easy to work with. Kevin Eastman, him and Courtney are the absolute best. I mean,
Yeah.
Never a problem with them. It's like they apologize to me when I'm trying to get stuff up. I'm like, no, you're our guest. We're supposed to do this for you.
Yeah, those two, like Kevin Eastman and Courtney, this is the first time we had them in the photo booth. I mean, they signed everyone's, like, he stayed back and signed everyone's like photo. We were just running him out. He's like, no, let me sign them. And I was like, okay. And I asked him, did you want to? He didn't want to charge. He stayed and signed the whole time. And
yeah, I don't think they charge for the first one. I believe it's free, and then after that, if it's the second one, that's when they start.
Yeah, I mean, he was so cool. I mean, they both just hung out in the booth while he was signing and chit chat. They were so nice, and I've seen him a few other times. Like I said, I saw him at the New Mexico Comic Expo, and they got to hang out with them for a while. And they're just the nicest people.
Yeah, they really are. The one who's the big fan favorite he's also so easy to work with is JDF.
Yeah,
and that guy is a machine. He has that rule that he stays till the last man standing.
Mm-hmm.
He will not leave until the last person in line just to get an autograph, picture, or whatever it is they're waiting for from him. Right. He almost missed his plane last year because he was waiting. He was bringing everybody through that line. We kept telling him, "Say, man, you gotta." The limo's here ready to take you to the airport. And he said, well, I might have to reschedule the flight because I'm not leaving until everybody in this line is done.
That's cool. I mean, I'm sure there's not a lot of celebrities that do that. That is really cool.
There's some that, when they're done, they'll get up, I gotta get lunch, and they'll make the people in the line wait. And I'm like, man, these people are paying good money to come and see you and get your autograph and photo with you. Stay there and finish out the autographs.
Well, that's cool. Is there anything else you'd like to? Because we could talk about this forever, Troy. I mean, like
I can talk.
This is like cool, like just hang out and talk thing. But is to close the show. Is there anything you want to say or add about either the comic book business now or the convention business now? I mean, is there anything else you'd like to say or add before we end today?
Just for both, my customers at Zia Comics and all the attendees and fans of El Paso Comic Con, thank you for sticking with us. And it's because of you guys that we're where we're at today. We're always trying to make Zia Comics better, always trying to make El Paso Comic Con better. We do listen to your guys' feedback, as long as you're not just needlessly yelling stuff at us that we can't control. But yeah, I mean, we're always trying to make it better for you guys. We want to put out a good product in both Zia Comics and El Paso Comic Con. And just thank you guys for hanging with us. And yeah, that's it. Just thank you.
Oh, well, Troy, thank you so much for joining me today, man. And I'll leave the info on the bottom in the description below on contact info for, I know, right? Where's it at? For Zia Comics and also El Paso Comic Con website, and that way people can check it out and get informed, get on the email list so they keep informed on what's going on with you guys there too.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, Troy, again, thank you so much for joining me today, man.
The pleasure's all mine.